Continuing our exploration of cool things to do with a jazz blues progression within the context of a rhythm section, I'd now like to show you a neat thing to do to play chords accompaniment, also known as comping, while allowing the bass player to do all the walking. We looked at walking bass lines in the previous lessons. This is going to free us up to play bigger, bolder chord voicings, and the concept is to support a soloist, but not step on his toes, not be rhythmically or harmonically obtrusive, and kind of give the rhythm section some push using some sparse punctuated rhythms. And we're going to think like 4 trumpets or trombones playing together using hybrid picking. You could use finger picking, but the concept is to play on the top 4 strings, pluck the notes together, so you're like that synchronized horn section. And I'm going to give you 2 examples. Both will be a 12-bar chorus over a G jazz blues. I'll play each one twice, and then I'll break it down for you. Here we go. If I start off with this G13 voicing, we have the 7th, F, the 3rd, B, there's the 13th, E, and then the root note on top. And then we kind of flat the 13, so that's called G7 flat 13. And that transitions nicely to C9. So we're doing that quick change to the 4 chord in the 2nd bar. So it's 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. 2, 3, 4. Now rhythmically, I'm using a lot of space here, aren't I? I'm trying to give the soloist and the rhythm section breathing room. And so we have this nice voice leading. And that's an anticipation. That C9 chord, it comes in on the and of 4 of the 1st bar. And then the 2nd bar, there's nothing. I'm leaving 4 beats of silence. So 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now continuing in bar 3, 1, and 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay, D minor 9. We're doing this thing where we're playing a 2-5 to the 4 chord. So the bass is doing like. So D minor 9 is the 2 chord of C. And then this is a tension, G7, sharp 9, sharp 5. It's got all the juicy notes in there, the altered dominant notes. Over a G bass note, that would sound like that. It's a very dramatic, compelling sounding chord. 1, and 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So I do the same thing when I go to the C9 again. I just kind of hit it a half a beat early. That's called an anticipation. And then a couple beats of empty space in bar 5. Going into bar 5, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, I'll stop there. So what we're doing is C9 is the 4 chord, and then we're going to F9, 13, because you can do that. That's one of many variations you will encounter in the jazz blues progression. I mean, you could think of that as going C minor to F, a 2-5 going to B flat, which never really resolves. It just goes back to G. So it's a nice thing to play around with. It's fun to solo over. C9, F9, 13. You have common tones, right, within the voice leading. Those 2 top notes stay the same, and then the tritone drops down for the F9, 13 chord, and then we go up to the. We're doing like 3, 6, 2, 5. So we're on B minor 7. And another voicing of B minor 7. And this is pretty cool. At the end of bar 7, That's E7 sharp 9, right? Like the Hendrix chord. With the sharp 11 on top. That's a very poignant sounding dissonance. And then we go to A9-13. Normally a 2-5, coming down the home stretch here in a jazz blues progression, you'd have 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. But I'm making that 2 chord a dominant. Okay, A9-13, here's the 7th, the 3rd, the 13, the 9th, and then we have this nice descending line on the B string. A9-13, A9 flat 13. You could also look at that as A9 sharp 5. The 5 would be that sharp 5. And then we go to A minor 9. Now we get a minor 2 chord. And then D13 flat 9 in bar 10. So we have this nice oblique voice leading where you have a common tone on top, and then things moving in the middle. That's what you'll hear in great big band music. You know, listen to Duke Ellington, Count Basie Orchestra, Nelson Riddle for the Frank Sinatra band. And then we're back to G13, our turnaround in the last 2 bars. Interesting, we have the same voicing moving chromatically. G13, E7 sharp 9 sharp 5, and then you just take that over an A bass note gives you A9-13. And then same shape, move down chromatically, gives you D7 sharp 9 sharp 5 or A flat 9-13. It all depends on whether the bass player chooses to play D or A flat. The bass player can go, or he can go. That cool sounding chromatic progression. And then we repeat, rinse, and then we finally end on a nice big chord strummed over all 6 strings. I'm muting the A string with the paw of my ring finger here, so that's a G9-13. Give it a little tremolo. Yeah. One more thing I wanted to point out is, as you play through these chord voicings, definitely listen to the way the voice leading works, you know, the way the notes move up or down while other notes remain stationary. A good way to do that is to just look at the bottom 2 or 3 notes. Okay, so on that first chord, we have G13. I'm just going to play the notes on the G, D, and B strings. Okay, then we go to D minor 9. In bar 5. You get to focus more on those notes. And then you could do the same thing with just looking at the top 3 notes. So that would be. You get to really hear the notes kind of stand out more when you do it like that. One of the big creative challenges with the style is to try and vary your rhythms and your voice leading and your voicings of the chords, because it's all too easy to fall into a kind of a sing-songy type of rhythm where you think, oh, this is cool, just do these like upbeat things. But if it sounds too predictable, you know, too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing. So you're trying to be clever, resourceful, and throw some surprises at the listener and at your bandmates, your drummer and rhythm section. You know, you're trying to give them some little unexpected accents to react to. And part of the thing that makes jazz so cool is the element of unpredictability. You know, even fellow musicians don't know what each other are doing precisely. They have a general roadmap of where they're going, and you get these happy accidents that happen. So here's another example of comping over a 12-bar jazz blues progression in G. Again, I'm going to play 2 choruses Second time, I'll add a fun little solo in the background, which we'll show as a split screen. But the emphasis here is on the chording. And again, I'm using hybrid picking to get that simultaneous note attack, that pianistic type of sound, or horns, perfectly synchronized horn section. Here we go. This time I'm starting out with a higher set of chord voicings. So we got G9, and that little extension, the 13, and that goes to C9, 13. So now we're going to do the 2-5 to C again, D minor 7 to G7 to C7. So here I'm going to, thinking like a horn section, they sometimes do little slides. It says D minor 9, D minor 7, adding a little melodic activity. So you have one note creating melody where the other ones are just staying the same. It's a nice effect. G9, and then I'm going to flat the 9. So it's G7 flat 9. And that's pretty cool. The G7, this chord here, you could think of that as G7 sharp 9, sharp 5. Moving to C9, 13, or you could think of it as D flat, 9, 13, moving to C9, 13. It's that tritone sub again. And there's that element of unpredictability. Your bass player could be going. You could be walking, or just, and then doing that. So. Now, instead of going to F7 like we did in the previous course, I'm going to show you another variation where we do the 4 chord and then the sharp 4 diminished. You hear that a lot in like slow, more like blues. A gospel type of blues. Back to the 1 chord. Here we're going to go. Now I'm playing C sharp diminished 7th. Using this nice, comfortable little diminished 7th shape, which is symmetrical. It's the same chord every 3 frets. Those are the same 4 notes, just inverted. They're kind of leapfrogging each other. So C sharp diminished 7th really is technically the same as B flat diminished 7th and G diminished 7th, E diminished 7th. So that's kind of a fun thing to do. Okay, now we're doing a 3, 6, 2, 5. So I'm going to go. Interesting little twist there. B minor 7th. The voice leading now, I'm using E7 sharp 9, flat 9. At the sharp 11, so it's ascending. A lot of times you get descending voice leading, you're getting. Usually these kind of 7th and 9th chords want to descend. So I'm going. And I'm also kind of throwing in an unexpected rhythmic kick there on beat 4. Like I said, you want to kind of vary your rhythms so you're not just always doing everything on the upbeats. Sometimes you throw in that anticipation. That's an entire beat early. So it's 1, 2, and 3, 4. It's like, whoa, it almost kind of trips you up a little bit, but in a fun way, fun, playful kind of way, throwing in accents while still knowing where you are harmonically. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And I'm keeping that common tone on top. We're coming down the home stretch here, going into bar 9. So we're playing A minor 9, D7 sharp 5. So we have 2 common tones, and these 2 notes move. Some interesting inner voice leading going on there. Again, I'm using a lot of space here, going into bar 9, and then in bar 10, there's nothing. There's a whole measure of silence. So 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 4. Again, slowly, I'll count the rhythms to help you with the counting, the phrasing. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I end on this real big, intriguing sounding G13 sharp 11 chord. Now what's cool is to analyze it, the voicelating, I'll do what I did with the previous example and just kind of look at the bottom 3 notes so you can focus on hear the way they move first. So that's kind of cool. And then if you look at the top 3 notes, we have this 3, 4, 1. There's an element of contrary motion there too. These are going down while the top note's going up. So that's kind of a neat thing. Vary the voicelating. You have similar motion, parallel motion, oblique motion, and contrary motion. And between that and the different rhythmic phrasing possibilities, you want to try to be inventive and be able to do this chorus after chorus without being too repetitive or predictable.